Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kira and today I'm bringing you the video that I've been promising since pretty much the start of my channel. Today I'm showing you 5 different ways that you can color clouds in Rita Berman's coloring books. Rita's clouds are one of my favorite elements to color in her books, and I've developed these different methods that I'm showing you today based on Rita's coloring herself. To make things even easier, I've put together a practice sheet with 4 of the most common found cloud illustrations in Rita's books, and this is what I'll be using to walk you through each coloring technique. So if you want to color along with me or just need a handy resource to practice with, you can download the sheet for free from my new Ko-fi store. That's right, your girl has a Ko-fi store now, so definitely check it out. So this is the practice sheet here, and you'll notice that one of the clouds is duplicated, and that's just because I've come up with 2 different methods for coloring this particular style of cloud. In this video, I won't be going over things like color selection or combinations because I have a separate video dedicated to how to create color combinations like Rita Berman, so definitely check it out if you haven't already. Today, we're just focusing on cloud coloring techniques, and we're gonna start with the easiest method and work our way up to the most detailed one. And don't worry, the 5th method isn't hard per se, it just has the most colors involved. And since I don't personally own a printer, I just got this sheet printed out at my local print shop on 250 GSM paper. It's a tinsy bit smoother than I would like, but I'm gonna make it work for this tutorial. However, if you do have the option to use an inkjet printer and just print this sheet out on better quality paper, definitely do it because you'll get better results. Alright, so let's talk about the first method, which is for Rita's more simple cloud designs. These are the most basic cloud shapes that you'll find in Rita's work, and for them I like to use a 3 color combination. I will forewarn you that you'll see very similar color combinations from me throughout this video, and that's just because I've found specific colors that I prefer to use for Rita's clouds. But seriously, feel free to use any combos you like, the process is still the same. And for this particular cloud today, I'll be using a blue, pink, and yellow combination. So for this cloud shape, I like to put in the shadows of the clouds first, and for the shadows on this one, I'm going to do it in the overlapping sections, so around here, and as well as at the base of the clouds as well. However, I am going to leave a slight gap at the bottom that will almost act as a highlight and really enhance the spherical shape of the clouds. So I'll put my shadows in first and slowly work my way towards the highlight of the cloud, which is going to be either on the side here or at the very top. And I always use the darker shade in my color combination as my shadow color. So in this case, it's going to be the blue Prismacolor. And then at the end, we're going to cover the line work that's inside of the clouds with a white acrylic paint pen. I'm going to use my Posca 0.7mm paint pen. And you're pretty much going to see me use a white acrylic paint pen for every single one of these clouds. So get ready for that to pop up quite a bit. Now this is something I've been doing to my Rita Berman clouds more recently, which is actually going over the entire thing again with my white Prismacolor pencil. As you can see, I've definitely been using it a lot. And basically what this does is just blend the colors all together and also just mute the colors a little bit more so they're more pastel-y. And then once I've done that, this is optional. You can either leave this bottom edge here white, or you can go in with the lightest color in your color combination and color that edge in here. So that's what I'm gonna do. Optional for you, but I'll show you how it looks. And there we have it. This is the first cloud technique done. As you can see, just adding those little white acrylic highlights really softens the cloud effect. You could even outline the edges of the cloud as well and completely remove the black line work if you want to soften them up even more. And one of the reasons that I don't bring the shadows right to the edges, as you can see here, is that I don't like two shadow colors touching each other, so if that makes any sense. So if I had this blue all the way to this edge, the two blues would be sitting next to each other, and I just feel like it ruins the dimension of the cloud. So yeah, that's why I do that. Now onto the second method and cloud style in Rita's work. These are likely the most common clouds that you'll come across in Rita's books, and that's why I've developed two different methods for coloring this particular style. For the first method, I like to stick with a 4-color combination. The combo I'll be using today is a pink, purple, peach, and yellow combination. So my approach for this method is to keep the darker colors in the combination towards the outside of the clouds and then work my way towards the center with the lighter colors in the combination. You'll see that Rita Berman always does these swirls in her cloud designs, and for these swirls inside of them, I always like to do 2 to 3 colors. I don't really know why, but I just find that it looks really cool and visually interesting. When clouds are overlapping like this, I really do try to avoid the same color sitting next to one another. So if I did pink here, for example, I wouldn't put pink there on this cloud. Hopefully that makes sense. And just like last time, I'm gonna go in at the end and do a lot of white acrylic marker. This one I am gonna fully white out the line work just to give it a really soft pastel-y effect. Let's get into it. As I said, I like to use 2 to 3 main colors for each swirl in Rita Berman's cloud illustrations. So I always try to color those first, and then I kind of use the placement of those colors as a guide for where I'll put the rest of the colors on the clouds. So since I'm working with a fairly limited palette for this example, I'm going to stick to the same 2 colors for each swirl. But as you'll see in some of the other examples in this tutorial, I sometimes mix up the 2 to 3 colors in each swirl just to add a bit of variety. And another super quick tip, if you're using darker shades like the purple I have here, try applying a light layer first and then darken just the edges with the second layer. This helps prevent the colors from looking too intense, which is perfect if you prefer your clouds to have a softer, more subtle look like I do. So this is the cloud all complete. I must say, I think this is my favorite method when it comes to coloring Rita Berman clouds. I just love the soft and colorful effect that's created by outlining the black lines. You'll notice that the white acrylic marker did change over the purple areas of the cloud. This is what happens when you use a white gel pen or white acrylic marker over purple, pinks, and reds. The color just changes. I personally don't mind it. I like the color variation. However, if you did want to avoid this, either just use a color combination that doesn't include those colors, or alternatively, you could use a pale pink acrylic marker instead to outline all of the line work, and that'll create the same effect. As I mentioned earlier, this next method is an alternative way to color the same cloud style. This one is a little bit more intricate because it uses a 5-color combination. I'll be working with purple, blue, teal, orange, and yellow. And there's also a secret 6th color in this combination, which is white, because I'll be leaving parts of this cloud uncolored. Those untouched areas will act as highlights to give the cloud cloud a more spherical dimension. So yes, just like last time, we're keeping the dark colors in the combination towards the edges and then working our way through to the lightest color in the center. However, we are going to leave the center of the clouds uncolored as well as the edges. We're not going to really use much white acrylic marker on this at the end. However, I do use a tinsy bit, but I'll show you what I mean when we get to that point. With this method, I won't be whiting out any of the black lines. I'm mainly just using my acrylic marker to tidy up any spots where I've gone past the white of the edge. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'll probably clean up this edge here because you can see I've gone quite close to the black line work there. And I'm also going to accent some more white within the little swirls as well. Yeah, so as you can see, just adding that little bit of white acrylic around the swirls there, I don't know, I feel like just adds a nice little bit of dimension and interest to the clouds. And if I was feeling particularly fussy, I could get a black fine liner and fix up any of the white messiness that I've done, but I'm not worrying about it for this today. Let's get into the next method. Method number 4 is for these longer clouds with a flat bottom. Just like the last method, I'll be leaving the edges uncolored, but I will be filling in the centers this time. The 5 color combination will consist of purple, blue, pink, yellow, and orange. So this method I like to sometimes dub the tie-dye method because when you see the final result, it does feel very tie-dye-y. I don't have too many rules when it comes to placing down my colors for these types of clouds. Yet again, I'm trying to avoid placing the same color next to one another where the clouds overlap and touch. I'm also keeping the darkest colors towards the edges of the clouds. I don't want any darkness in the center. And yeah, like I said, we are coloring the entire cloud but leaving the edges white, just like we did with the other method here. So let's get into it. I will quickly address color theory in this video because it is really important for figuring out how to place your colors in your clouds, especially with this more intuitive, less structured approach. I always try to place colors next to each other that won't create too muddy of a blend. For example, in this color combination, I'd avoid putting purple and orange next to each other as this would result in a gross brown color, but putting purple next to blue or pink works just fine. I'm not always super strict with this, but I do my best to avoid muddy blends wherever possible. So hopefully you can see what I mean there by the tie-dye effect. It gives me very hippie vibes, this random placement of color, and I think also just the color scheme I used as well. Surprise, surprise, we're bringing out the Posca paint pen again. I'm gonna do the same sort of thing that I did with this cloud over here where I accent the whiteness within the swirls. And I'm also going to go over the little dots as well as the lines that are inside the circle. Not the lines that are near the edge, but the lines like here, here, and here. And there we have it. Method number 4 is complete. You could white out these black lines that are here as well if you wanted to, but I'm gonna leave them because sometimes I go a little bit too ham with the white acrylic detail, so I'm trying to restrain myself. I feel like the blend of the colors together isn't looking as good on camera as it is in real life, but trust me, it looks much better in person. Let's get into the final method. We've finally reached the last cloud style and coloring technique for this video, which is for these long swirly clouds. For this style, I like to use a 6-color combination. Today's combination will consist of purple, blue, teal, pink, yellow, orange. Yes, 6. I don't know why I felt like I miscounted then. And this method is actually quite similar to the second one, we just have more colors involved. Alright, I feel like you know the deal by now. We are coloring the edges this time, nothing is being left uncolored. The darkest colors kept towards the edge, working our way towards the center with the lighter colors, so you know, those creams and oranges that I picked out. And then this time I will be covering all of the inner details, all the inner line work with my white acrylic paint pen. And there is the final cloud coloring method I'm gonna show you in this video. I can't remember if I've already said this, but I do think that this is one of my favorite methods for coloring Rita Berman's clouds. And then I also really love the second method here as well. If you wanted to, which I probably would in the context of a coloring page, is white out these black lines as well, just to create a softer cloud appearance. Kind of depends on what the look you're going for is on the coloring page that you're working on. So there are all the different clouds side by side together on the page. Like I said, this sheet will be on my Ko-fi store, so go ahead and download it and practice your Rita Berman cloud coloring as well. And also feel free to mix methods here and there. You know, you could take the uncolored edge of this and apply it to this cloud here, or do a 6-color combination on this type of cloud. Really really, the world is your oyster. But hopefully what I showed you today just gives you a bit of a starting point to find your own way to color Rita Berman's clouds. And there you have it, 5 different methods for coloring 4 distinct cloud styles in Rita Berman's coloring books. If you do have any questions for anything I showed you in this video, drop them in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And as I mentioned earlier, please feel free to use whatever color combinations you like for Rita Berman's clouds. If you know me and my coloring style, I never color anything realistically. And since Rita Berman's illustration style is so whimsical and quirky, it really lends itself to having a lot of fun with color. So don't feel limited at all when it comes to choosing your color palettes. But if you do need a little bit of help with coming up with color combinations, definitely check out my last Rita Berman tutorial. I give you a lot of tips and tricks there. Until next time, happy coloring friends, have a good day, have a good life, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!